Welcome to my channel. Enjoy the content, and please like, comment, share and subscribe for more. Long before the first breath of creation stirred the cosmos, two divine beings reigned supreme. Kael, the god of skies and flame, and Elira, the goddess of rivers and light. Their love, forged in the furnace of eternity, illuminated the heavens. From the shifting auroras to the whisper of starlight across celestial seas, their bond was the force that shaped harmony among the realms. Yet, in every era, darkness festers in envy. The Shadow One, a primordial force exiled to the void, seethed in his exile, hungry for disruption. His malice birthed a cataclysm that echoed through dimensions. Kael and Elira, yearning to understand the fragile beauty of human existence, descended into mortality. Born as lovers in a past life, they found each other quickly, their souls magnetized. They married young, their joy radiant. But destiny, cruel and unyielding, allowed the Shadow One to find them. He sowed betrayal through those they trusted. War erupted. Lies pierced their union. Kael died in battle, framed and forsaken. Elira, branded a traitor's bride, perished in grief, her light extinguished. The heavens mourned. Stars dimmed. Rivers fell silent. But love, true and eternal, never truly dies. Reborn many generations after their tragic demise, Kael re-entered the world cloaked in humanity as Adekunle David, a contemplative, enigmatic soul nurtured in the heart of an unassuming household. From an early age, he exhibited an uncanny brilliance, perceiving complexities others ignored and solving problems as though he had lived lifetimes before. Reserved yet magnetic, he moved through life with quiet purpose, constructing an empire rooted in innovation, foresight, and instinct. Industries bent to his will, competitors admired from afar, and his name became synonymous with excellence. Despite immense fortune, recognition, and power, something always felt incomplete, an invisible emptiness threading through the fabric of his triumphs. Invitations to social gatherings, matchmaking attempts, and endless admiration from admirers never pierced the fog of yearning that settled deep within his chest. Whenever asked why he remained unmarried, he offered the same calm reply: "The one meant for me has not yet appeared." Behind this response lived a truth few could comprehend. He was waiting not for compatibility, but for reunion, not for chemistry, but for recognition. Somewhere, he believed, an ancient promise still lingered. Hidden within the vast expanse of his palatial estate stood a room unknown to visitors, untouched by time or trend. A chamber round in design, its walls adorned with sigils older than language, etched with precision only possible through memory reborn. The air inside was perpetually cool, carrying hints of sandalwood, myrrh, and secrets. At the center lay a circular platform surrounded by quartz and obsidian, materials chosen not for aesthetics but for resonance. Here, Adekunle often found solace when the weight of unnamed sorrow bore down on him like fog across a forgotten battlefield. On such evenings, he would withdraw from the world, shedding the armor of wealth and stature, and step barefoot into the sacred space. Within this silence, he would close his eyes, letting his breath slow until the hum of reality fell away. In those moments of surrender, flickers of a world beyond emerged. A river bathed in moonlight, a pair of eyes glowing like sunrise over mist, a melody only the soul could recall. He never fully remembered, but always sensed. Occasionally, he would hear her name in the rustle of trees or glimpse her silhouette in dreams that dissolved upon waking. An eternal presence seemed to wait just beyond perception's veil, as if time itself was holding its breath, counting down to an inevitable encounter. Though he couldn't yet explain the longing coursing through his veins, every cell in his body recognized a truth that defied explanation. He was not meant to walk this journey alone. Something sacred had been severed, and destiny, ever patient, was stitching it back together. In a vibrant coastal town kissed by salt winds and sun-dappled mornings, Aisha Adebayo entered the world, the second daughter in a family rooted in tradition and quiet resilience. Her father, once a revered educator, spent his days sharing wisdom with neighborhood children, while her mother, a gifted herbalist, tended to the sick with remedies drawn from leaves and moonlit prayers. Their home, nestled between market stalls and murmuring waves, brimmed with warmth, humility, and an unspoken reverence for unseen forces. From childhood, Aisha displayed an uncanny grace, thoughtful, curious, and drawn instinctively to rivers, rainstorms, and anything that shimmered beneath sunlight. She often sat by the ocean for hours, eyes fixed on the horizon, as though waiting for something older than time itself to arrive. Her teachers called her extraordinary, her classmates saw her as a quiet wonder, and strangers sometimes paused mid-step, unsure why her presence stirred something nostalgic within them. By the time she reached 18, Aisha had already etched her name into the hearts of many. Her brilliance illuminated every classroom she entered. Her ideas breathed new life into stagnant discussions. Professors admired her eloquence and clarity, while peers leaned on her quiet strength. With each accomplishment, she carried the hopes of her family and community, though she never chased praise. Rather, her motivation came from a pull deep within, an inner compass guiding her towards something unnamed. Though she felt joy, she often sensed a strange longing, especially during moments of triumph, as if each success brought her closer to something forgotten yet essential. She could never articulate it clearly, but her dreams were filled with flames and rivers, voices from faraway lands, and fleeting images of a man whose eyes spoke of sorrow and devotion in equal measure. That invisible thread of destiny tightened one bright afternoon during a university symposium celebrating innovation and academic excellence. The event buzzed with anticipation. Renowned scholars, patrons, and dignitaries gathered beneath chandeliers and golden banners. Among them was Adekunle David, esteemed business magnate, invited to chair the occasion. His arrival sparked quiet awe, students whispered, faculty straightened their postures, and cameras clicked in reverence. Yet when he entered the auditorium, it was not the grandeur that caught his attention, it was her. Aisha, poised in a sea-green gown simple yet ethereal, stood backstage, unaware of eyes already searching for answers in her face. When her name was called, she stepped forward with confidence wrapped in humility. The moment she began presenting her award-winning thesis, words flowing like a sacred hymn, something ancient stirred in Adekunle. Time, for him, distorted. The audience faded. Her voice resonated not only in his ears but in every corner of memory he didn't know he possessed. She didn't recognize him, not yet, but he knew. Not in the mind, but in the soul, where truth cannot be disguised. As she spoke, a storm of remembrance swelled behind his composed expression. The cadence of her speech, the tilt of her head, the glow surrounding her presence. Everything whispered of another life, a vow unfinished, a bond unbroken. The moment stretched into eternity before collapsing into thunderous applause, snapping him back to the present, though his heart remained lodged in a forgotten age. Without hesitation, he rose from his seat, met her gaze across the crowd, and something unspoken passed between them, electric, familiar, profound. Adekunle stood frozen, breath caught in a place memory could not reach, eyes locked on the young woman who had just set the room alight with her brilliance. Something deep, buried beneath layers of time and lifetimes, stirred, an ache not born of pain but recognition. His heart thudded with the rhythm of a name he couldn't yet speak, though it vibrated through every cell of his being. Her presence radiated a light not easily defined, gentle yet commanding, ancient yet fresh. There was a knowing in her gaze, though she herself remained unaware of the truth she carried. As she descended the platform, confidence woven into each graceful step, Adekunle's hands instinctively came together in applause, louder than any other, as if his soul refused to remain silent. Around him, others clapped politely, but he celebrated something beyond her academic achievement. He celebrated reunion. The crowd began to disperse, but he moved toward her, weaving through well-wishers and admirers until they stood face to face. Up close, her features struck him with the force of déjà vu. Her eyes held storms and solace, Her voice had been etched into the recesses of his forgotten past. Yet she looked at him with respectful curiosity, unaware that the man before her had once held her beneath the stars of another world. He offered a kind smile, careful to mask the waves crashing inside him. "You speak like someone destined to shape legacies," he said, voice steady despite the chaos within. He reached into his inner pocket and retrieved a sleek, embossed card, his name gleaming in silver against obsidian. Handing it to her felt like placing fate into motion. "Come see me after you graduate," he continued, eyes never leaving hers. "There's a place waiting for you." She accepted the card with a soft nod, eyes scanning the details as if fate had written something in invisible ink across the surface. "Thank you, sir," she replied, unaware that this encounter had just shifted the course of her life. As she walked away, he remained still, staring after her like a man who had just seen the sun after centuries of darkness. Certain of nothing except this, she was the one he'd waited for across worlds. 12 months quietly drifted by, and on a golden morning scented with possibility, Aisha stepped into the towering glass headquarters of Adekunle David. The receptionist, usually reserved, straightened with visible curiosity as the girl approached. Ushered into a private elevator, she ascended floors carved in marble and silence. When the doors opened, Adekunle rose from his desk before she could knock. His smile was genuine, eyes brighter than usual, his voice carrying an unfamiliar softness. Even his assistants exchanged puzzled glances. They had never witnessed such warmth in his typically guarded demeanor. Without hesitation, she was offered a position. Her duties, directly under his watch at his side, involved in critical projects few others touched. The transition felt seamless, as though the universe had simply rearranged itself around their meeting. Despite the significant difference in their ages, conversation flowed naturally, never forced. Their minds met in quiet harmony, their laughter effortless. He admired her insight, she respected his vision. Together, they moved through boardrooms and brainstorming sessions like longtime partners orchestrating a symphony only they could hear. Unspoken understanding colored their every exchange. Though he often observed her from across sleek conference tables or beside panoramic windows, there was never desire in the gaze, only awe, the kind born from remembrance rather than longing. Every gesture of hers, every glance, every pause carried echoes of another life. While she remained unaware of the deeper thread binding them, he recognized it with absolute certainty. She was not simply an exceptional young woman. She was her. Still, Adekunle remained silent. Not out of fear, but reverence. He knew awakening could not be rushed. Answers required patience. Truths, no matter how old, must surface when destiny allowed. And so he waited, not passively, but with purpose, guarding their future until she remembered. One quiet evening, as dusk painted the skyline in amber, Aisha remained behind to sort through archival documents stored in a restricted room within the towering headquarters. Dust veiled the cabinets, and silence clung to the walls. Her fingers brushed against forgotten ledgers, project blueprints, and outdated financial records, until she noticed something unusual. Wedged tightly between a rusted shelf and the concrete wall was a weathered leather-bound folder, its surface cracked like ancient bark. Instinct more than logic compelled her to pull it free. The moment her hands touched the cover, a strange warmth pulsed beneath her skin. She sat at the nearest desk and carefully opened it. Inside, the parchment sheets were faded, yet the ink glowed faintly, etched with celestial symbols and language older than memory. The title read, "The God of Flame and the River's Light." The narrative unfolded in poetic fragments, chronicling a divine romance across ages, beings of power falling through starlight, bound by fate, undone by treachery. As she read, something inside her stirred. The words weren't new, they were familiar, like echoes long buried. Suddenly, images engulfed her vision. Broken temples crumbling under moonlight, two figures clasping hands amid chaos, fire devouring skies, betrayal blooming like poison, sorrow so deep it burned. She saw his face, not Adekunle's corporate mask, but Kael, crowned in fire. She saw herself, Elira, radiant and resolute. A flash like lightning surged through her chest, and her breath caught. Light exploded from within. Her body went limp, falling from the chair as energy surged through the room. Documents flew off desks. Lights flickered. A soft hum resonated through the walls. Then, stillness. She lay unconscious, but transformed. The goddess had awakened. And destiny, patient for centuries, stirred once more. When she awakened hours later in the company infirmary, everything felt altered. The air shimmered faintly, charged with invisible threads of memory. Her skin tingled, her pulse synchronized with something ancient. The walls, once plain, seemed alive, humming with a low resonance only she could hear. Her eyes, reflecting unfamiliar luminescence, searched the room before settling on her hands, now glowing slightly with energy. Flashes of forgotten lifetimes raced through her consciousness. She recalled every embrace, every farewell, the sound of battle cries, sacred vows whispered beneath twin moons, and the moment Kael's final breath left his mortal vessel. The pain, the devotion, the promise, all returned. Power surged within. No longer dormant, her soul stirred awake. She remembered who she truly was. Not just Aisha, Elira, goddess of rivers and radiance. The universe had begun realigning her fate. When Adekunle arrived, anxiety etched in his stride, he paused at the doorway. She turned to him, tears cascading silently, yet her expression serene. "I remember," she whispered, voice laced with eternity. "Kael, it's you." His composure shattered. Emotion overwhelmed logic. He dropped to his knees, tears unbidden. At last, the veil lifted. The divine had returned. The gods had awakened. But peace never blesses eternal souls without a price. Their awakening sent tremors through invisible planes, rippling across dimensions where darkness had lain dormant. The Shadow One, once shattered, had reformed, reborn as Senator Ibrahim Bakari, a charismatic but cold-blooded titan in national politics. Draped in charm, cloaked in corruption, he commanded loyalty from the weak, fear from the powerful, and respect from those who misunderstood his origins. With every televised smile, with every speech delivered beneath national flags, the old malevolence watched, waited, and plotted. He recognized their auras before they even uttered their truths. Kael and Elira together again meant the return of cosmic equilibrium, and his final banishment. Bakari struck without delay. Aisha's peaceful slumbers turned poisonous, her dreams twisted into labyrinths of fear, filled with shrieks from lifetimes ago. One morning, her car spun out of control on a slick curve. The brakes had failed, almost fatally. Mechanics found nothing. Meanwhile, Adekunle's empire, built over decades of quiet brilliance, faced sabotage. Regulatory bodies launched surprise investigations. Anonymous sources leaked confidential files. Trusted allies resigned without notice. Invisible claws shredded stability. Night after night, shadowy presences lingered near windows, muttering ancient incantations just beyond human comprehension. Cold gusts swept through rooms sealed shut. Hallways grew longer than they were. Lights flickered, not from faulty wiring but from the weight of unwelcome visitors. Still, Kael and Elira refused to retreat. Memories had returned, but this time so had lessons. They sharpened their awareness, embraced forgotten disciplines. She meditated by rivers, coaxing liquid streams into patterns that hummed with sacred resonance. He invoked flame not with anger, but with clarity. Their joined power, when channeled, dispelled deceit, revealed truth, and forged protection stronger than steel. As darkness advanced, so did their resolve. The reckoning arrived during a tempestuous night on Olymo Rock, earth and ether converging atop sacred stone. Thunder split the heavens, and wind lashed the granite peak with furious force. Senator Bakery emerged cloaked in shadows, no longer merely a man but the full embodiment of the Shadow One, his presence warping reality. Around him stood a legion, armed men with hollow eyes and spirits conjured from ancient curses. But Kael and Elira met them as gods reborn. Adekunle's form shimmered with firelight, his aura fierce and unyielding. Aisha, radiant beside him, pulsed with the rhythm of moon-fed rivers. Together, they stood unwavering, the past and present fused. Shadow surged first, a black inferno that howled across the summit. Kael raised a wall of pure flame, deflecting it with burning truth. Elira responded with a spiral of light-infused water, cutting through darkness with precision. The mountain shook. Time slowed. Across dimensions, ancient spirits paused to witness. Every strike from Bakery attempted to unmake the world, every counter from the lovers rewrote it. They moved as one, tethered by memory and anchored by love. Lightning revealed their divine forms, wings of flame, eyes of stars, hearts timeless. The clash transcended the mortal. Hours passed, the storm above echoing the chaos below. But when Kael summoned fire from the core of forgotten suns and Elira wove into it the essence of healing waters, their combined force struck true. The energy pierced Bakery's heart, not to kill but to unbind. With a scream that shattered both sky and silence, the Shadow One unraveled. Darkness recoiled. Spirits dissolved. Bakery's form collapsed, then vanished, cast into the void beyond time. Peace returned. In spring, beneath flowering trees on Adekunle's estate, the same place where destiny whispered first through a business card, they wed. Vows echoed under petals, joy blooming in every breath. And when night falls and constellations sing, their souls remember. The gods dance. Together. Forever.